What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the land of Jethro, as I might call it right now. I've been busy building Jethro, and I figured it's high time I do a build update for you guys and show you everything that I've done to modify this Jeep above and beyond what was when I bought it. So AEV, upfitment, all that aside, I figured I'd show you everything that I've done from kind of start to finish and where I'm at, and really kind of go into where I am going with this, what mods I have pending. Like, I still have stuff sitting in my shed that I haven't installed yet. I have stuff on order that hasn't arrived yet. And I also have future plans. So I figured I'd kind of just do an overall summary of all that. I will probably put in the description below a list of everything and websites so that you can go find everything you want. Full disclosure, I paid for every single bit of this myself, with the exception of a couple sales and some rebate offers and a couple special deals or coupon codes. I paid for everything myself. I didn't get any, sponsorships or discounts that the average Joe couldn't get. So without further ado, I figure we'll start off with the outside. I'll show you everything I've done around the outside, and then we'll come up here to the interior and show you everything I've done inside. It's a lot. I've discovered that owning a Jeep is a money pit, and I couldn't be happier. So without further ado, let's get to it. All right, I'm out here in the great outdoors of Idaho in an undisclosed location. Found a nice little secluded spot to film this little video. It is a little windy, so I'm hoping that doesn't bother me too much. And if you can hear the birds, springtime's in the air and they're coming back. Although, as you can see, there's still snow on the ground. All right, let's get to it. So one of the very first things I did was I bought the Factor 5.5 Flat Link Expert with the rope guard to protect the synthetic rope, partially because I think it looks cool, and plus, to me, it's a lot better designed than just a factory hook that was really kind of cheap looking that comes with the Warren winches. Another really simple mod that I did was I noticed factory when I'm doing off-roading that the handles would get covered in mud whenever you went over anything wet or muddy. So I bought myself a set of these Rock Blocks mud flaps just for the front, because the rear, as you can see from AEV, already has a set, but it didn't come with the front. So I did have to cut around the factory rock sliders a little bit and get a little creative, but other than that, they work like a top, and I couldn't be happier. As for the rear of the vehicle, exterior wise, I really haven't done anything, but I did do one little thing, just a little piece of flash, but it's kind of understated. If you notice, the AEV has all blacked out badges and everything. And so I wanted to kind of advertise that it's a 392 on the rear of the vehicle, but do it understated. So I went on Amazon and I did find some El Cheapo badges, and I got them in satin black. So if you can see here, I put the 392 logo underneath the AEV, and I don't know. It's something small, but I like it. If you know, you know. If you don't, oh well. One of the biggest additions that I did was I put on the Rhino Rack backbone system and Pioneer Rack. I did it all myself, with the exception of I did have my cousin help me put the rack up on top. Otherwise, I assembled it and mounted it myself. I will tell you this, it's very nerve-wracking drilling holes into your roof to mount it. But man, I couldn't be happier. It's very robust. And this is where, hopefully soon, once weather permits, I will be putting my Free Spirit Recreation Odyssey 49-inch rooftop tent on top of here, and some other accessories, including like Maxtrax and a shovel. And then I also have one of the things that I'm waiting on to come in, because there's such back order, is some work lights that will actually mount along the underside here to kind of light up the scene when I'm at camp, along with a set of lights in the rear that are amber that will be chase lights. But like I said, I'm just waiting on them. I'm hoping they come in the next few weeks. We'll see. I almost forgot. There was one little thing that I also did on the exterior, and that is I got rid of the factory radio antenna and I put this little Ronin aluminum stubby antenna, because the factory antenna whip, if you're not aware, whips all over the place when you're driving. That's really annoying. Plus, I don't listen to radio typically. I listen to satellite radio. I'll show you later, but it's actually up inside here. So this was kind of pointless, so I went ahead and replaced that. Now, going into the engine bay, I have done some modifications inside of here. Nothing to the engine itself, nothing to the air intake or anything performance-wise. It's all electronics. Plus, I found by accident on Instagram that they make hood struts for these hoods. You can get them for any vehicle, but one of the things with the 392 is with this hood scoop, it's a functional hood scoop with the hydro guide system, and it makes the hood extremely heavy and very awkward to open. So what I did was I found that they make hood struts for it, and now, it's open. So these are by Redline Tuning, and they're pretty sweet. They do the trick. They mount here. The only modification I had to do, you have to cut out this bracket a little bit just to make room for this. So when this comes down, it rests right in here. Which leads me to other additions I've done. As you can see, I also have the HD HQ bracket and a Switch Pro's SP9100 lighting system, or controller I should say, that I mounted in here. I just did that last weekend. And so that's running back here. I have all the spares right here because I'm in the middle of installing it, so it's kind of doesn't look too great right now, but it works. I did get a generic kit, so it wasn't specifically designed for the Jeep, so that's why I have this tape kind of holding this out of the way. Otherwise, it's pretty well stock here underneath the hood. Some of the more major upgrades that I've done have actually been on the inside of the vehicle, specifically the rear of the vehicle. I kind of went bonkers, I'm not gonna lie, but I couldn't be happier. So one of the biggest reasons I picked the Jeep Wrangler itself was because you can get a tailgate table. And so that was one of the very first mods I did. Second to the Factor 5.5 Flat Link Expert on the front, I put in a tailgate table. This one's by Outback Adventure Products. It's the tailgater, and this thing has been awesome. Plus, it has this cool feature that was actually added after I bought it. I didn't realize that they sold it with this, but it's a new addition. It's got a cool magnetic bar on here so you can actually put like your knives or tools. I gotta tell you, I couldn't be happier with this whole setup. This thing has been a lifesaver. I can put my tools on it. I can put food on it. You can see rings here because I've actually eaten off of it many times. Very, very good addition to any Jeep. I highly, highly recommend it. Another little mod that I did was I put this factory faceplate on. What I found out was mine came with a silver one that was just for a regular JL Rubicon. The 392 ones didn't come out until later, and they had a supply chain issue. And so for the first few that were built, they had the wrong nameplate on them. But I was able to find it online, ordered a new one, drilled out the holes and put it on, and little thing, but it's more fitting. All right, moving into the back of the vehicle. As you can see, it does not look like a stock JL. The very first thing I did was I got the goose gear plate system, and I removed the factory flooring and put in this whole goose gear mounting platform, which allowed me then to get the ice box set up. I went with this one instead of the one with the cooktop on the bottom because, as you can see in here, I actually have my cooking gear inside here. I didn't need another cooking platform. So this is the Trek Pack system by Pelican. It's mostly for Pelican cases, but you can buy these and adapt them to drawer units. I did a lot of research, and basically what I did was I took the dimensions of the drawer itself, and I went online and I found a Pelican case that was as close to it as possible. And then I researched the Trek Pack for that Pelican case, and that's what I ordered to do this. It was a lot of legwork, but it actually worked. These are expensive. I mean, it was like 120 bucks for this divider kit, but the one I got is actually double tall, so I cut them all in half. So I have enough to do a full drawer, and maybe even then some. So, word to the wise, these things are worth the money, and I mean, they do a great job. As you can see, I have, you know, a coffee grinder, I have a Grail water filter, I have an AeroPress, I have a Snow Peak stove, along with the butane, some extra tools. I have a can of Jetboil fuel, which I don't have the Jetboil in here, but that'll go for that. And then some extra accessories. And yeah, it works great. And it closes and latches. It's nice and quiet. And then on here, I have the Dometic Cfx 45 fridge, along with the Tembo Tusk straps, the hold down straps. I did have to shim this because this fridge won't fit in this slide perfectly. So what I ended up doing was I just put a piece of OSB down here that was 3/4 inch thick to space it up, and then anchored it down, and it fits perfectly. Also, inside here, if you can see here, on both sides, I have the X Cargo Gamma bags. These are pretty sweet. What they do is they allow you to store stuff. And inside here I have some extra bungees, I have the remote for my winch, I have some paper towels, some extra parts and pieces, and also I do have a Factor 5.5 hitch mount, which is handy, along with the pin to mount it, and some extra accessories inside here, like an inspection mirror and some, you know, emergency stuff. And then on this side I also have in here extra motor oil in case I need it, some extra Kleenex because spring, some paper towels, and I have a full set of extra wipers inside of here as well. Yeah, amongst other things. Another thing that I did recently, as I showed you under the hood, I put the Switch Pro's 9100 system in. Well, I also ordered a slave controller for it, and I have it back here. So I can actually control all the lighting. It's a redundant as the front, so that I can control it from the rear or the front of the vehicle, which is pretty cool. A word to the wise, if you're looking at doing that, they don't sell that on their website. The reason why is because it's built custom to order by the length of the cable that needed to connect it. So I contacted them, I got a rough guess, I ordered the cable, plus they send a little bit extra with it. So that's why I have a lot extra right here coiled up. It's fine because I don't know if that's its permanent home, but it works for now, and I got it all hooked up and it works beautifully. So thank you Switch Pros for that. Now, you're probably wondering how I have it mounted. So what I have in here, it's hard to see, is I have a 67 Designs Series 55 rail with a couple ball mounts, and one of their arms come up to here, and they make an adapter from the 67 Designs ball mount ecosystem to the Switch Pro's 9100 control panels. And so I just have that sitting here, and it's stout. I mean, it's not really moving. I just screwed it into the plastic, which I don't really recommend, but it actually worked out pretty well. So yeah, couldn't be happier with that. And one thing that I almost forgot to show you is I have these El Cheapo, I say cheapo, but they're actually about 40 bucks, but they're little LED lights from Lowe's. And you can tap them on or off, but they're also, check this out. It comes with a little remote control, and I can actually turn it on and off from here, which is kind of cool. And they actually work pretty well, if I can get it to work. They're battery operated, they run off AA batteries. They're unsightly because they're white and they're these on things, but to be honest with you, you don't really even notice they're here. And they work really well to light up underneath this at night. In fact, they get so bright, you could probably see it from the moon. Moving on to the middle row of seats. One thing I did not that long ago, actually, it was just a few weeks ago, is I got the 60% seat delete kit from Goose Gear, which essentially takes out most of your rear seat except for the one jump seat. And what that did was it allowed me to put this platform in, and it's a place to store my tools. So it's hard to see thanks to the bright sun, but in here I have my recovery gear, which I have an air tool kit. I also have an extra air hose. I have some extra tools. I have a chair, an axe. In here I have my Step 22 pangolin tool roll, which is extremely heavy, but absolutely worth the money. And then I also got a Step 22 tortoise toiletry bag that I actually use for my electrical tools. And all that fits perfectly inside of here. And it's a nice little nestled area to put it out of the way, and it stows it pretty safely so it doesn't bounce all around your vehicle. Now, if I had it to do over again, I would actually probably go ahead and get the 100% set up and get rid of the extra jump seat. The idea was I would have a place for people to sit if I needed to. Reality is I haven't used it and it's just been in the way. So I'm probably still gonna order the 40% kit to complete this whole ecosystem and just get rid of that altogether. Another thing I did was I got the Alien Sunshade grab handle kits. So they went behind both seats, and also I got another one for the passenger side. I haven't really used them a whole lot, but they are handy to have, especially when I had all the seats in here. Those are a nice little handy thing to have. It's a good way to grab to get inside here or whatever. Another thing I did was, if you can see up here, I have the Blue Ridge Overland gear attic, which is nice. It's a good place to put like bedding or jackets or anything that's really lightweight, pillows, and you can store them up out of the way. And so that's my plan, is to use it to actually mount all the pillows and all that stuff, just kind of carry it up out of the way. Onto the other side of the rear seat. As you can see, a problem with just getting the 60% seat delete kit is that the side of the whole plate system is open. And I had that actually stuffed up underneath inside the cubby, and it fell out. So that's another reason to probably just get the whole kit, remove this seat altogether, and that way this stuff stows and it stays. I also got myself an Element fire suppression system, little fire extinguisher. These are like 80 bucks, but they never ever expire. It's great for one fire and super lightweight, and they kind of fit anywhere. You know, just for now, I just have it temporarily sitting there because I don't have a permanent home for it yet, but I will. And then also, I got a Mymetic Kit. I forget which the name of this kit is, but it's the expensive one. This thing has everything underneath the sun inside of it. It's on a Velcro panel, so if need be, you can rip it off and go, which is pretty handy. And then it just stows up there out of the way. Another thing I did was, as you can see here, I pull this forward, I put in the ARB dual air compressor setup with the More Mountain Off-Road mount kit. It fits it perfectly in this little cubby that's otherwise pretty much unused. And I got the air chuck right here. I wired it. I built a custom wiring harness for it, so it wires straight to the battery. It also wires to ignition so that it doesn't run. Like right now, I can't turn it on, but as soon as the engine's running, I can run it because it is a high current draw. And what it still allows me to do is use this cubby actually right here and on the other side to stow stuff that's thin up out of the way. So you've probably noticed that I haven't connected power to the Dometic just yet. The reason why is I toyed around with different ideas for how to power it. I actually was quite serious about getting a Red Arc Vision system, but those are really expensive. You know, you're looking at $2,500 just for the controllers themselves. Then you got to get solar, then you got to get batteries, all the wiring and everything. You're looking close to a $4,000 setup. And I wasn't ready to bite that off yet. So what I did instead, and I'll show you here later in the video when I show you everything that's in my shed that's waiting to go in here, I went with a Jackery setup. I got the Jackery 1500 plus two 100-watt solar panels. And the idea is I'm going to plug the fridge into there along with cell phone chargers or camera gear or drone charging. Any of that kind of stuff can power off that. And it should do the trick while I'm out and about. The idea is that Jackery will actually sit right here where otherwise the center console for the rear seat would be. I can anchor it down. It will stay there and hold there. I haven't figured out where I'm going to stow the solar panels just yet. It depends on how I, fill this whole cab up when I actually go out somewhere. But the idea is that it's a good portable solution, and then when I'm out camping, I can actually deploy the solar panels to recharge or help recharge the Jackery. It'll always be plugged into the engine so that while I'm driving, it's charging the Jackery, but I'll have a kill switch so that it's not draining the battery for the vehicle when I'm not driving the vehicle. So always got to have safeties involved, because the last thing we want is a parasitic drain for the battery so that when I go somewhere I'm stuck and I can't get out. So last but certainly not least is the driver's compartment, the whole front end of the vehicle. I've done the most amount of mods, I would say small mods, to the cockpit area, because this is the command central. It's probably where I'll spend most of my time between driving and whatever else. And I've done many mods, so without further ado, I'll show you everything I did. I bought the JCR off-road MOLLE panel that connects to the Freedom panel, and it also, you drill it into the roll bar up on top and mount it. This is a MOLLE panel that I actually filled with Velcro to put my patches on. As you can see, I have a cheap Amazon MOLLE panel bag. This is where I hide my binoculars for driving and sightseeing, animal watching. This is a really cheap, inexpensive glass break and seatbelt cutter from Amazon. It's about 13 bucks, and I gotta tell you, it's well worth the money. I just have it zip tied to here to mount it, and it's up out of the way, and it's perfect. And then obviously my patch collection. And then you'll see here, this yellow wire that's sitting right here, and comes around, and then this guy right here, this is actually my Sirius radio antenna. I had to relocate it because normally it's back over here in the center of this, but with the Pioneer rack up on top, it actually blocked the whole satellite signal. So fortunately, once you take all these panels off, you can actually route the whole thing around. It just barely fits. That's why this is visible, because the cable's just not quite long enough. But I was able to stick it here on top of this MOLLE panel, and it actually works flawlessly. So that brings me to this. This is where I mounted my control panel for the SP9100 from Switch Pros. It's in the center console, kind of like Fords do, where they're up in the overhead console and up out of the way. I'm using a 67 Designs ecosystem along with this ball that I have here, and I got another one here. Those are from Carolina Metal Masters, along with these. And they're ball mounts that I have all over the place. You can see them on the grab handle over there. I actually have more. And what those allow me to do is to mount 67 Designs gear pretty much anywhere I want. So that brings me to the 67 Designs ecosystem. I found it on, I think, Instagram, and it's probably one of the more popular mounting solutions for cell phones and accessories. You know, they make this whole dash mount setup for Jeeps, and they make a whole bunch of different arms and different lengths. And one thing I found when I was actually doing this build was I didn't really know what to get. And nobody really came out and said what to get as far as these go, because it depends on what you have. And so what I've learned over time is if you have the means to do so, because they are not inexpensive, they're an expensive setup, but they're all carbon fiber and they're exponentially well built. What I've learned is to just buy in bulk. I ended up buying a whole bunch of extra ball mounts. I bought extra rail. I bought an assortment of different arm lengths, and I bought different adapters as I've purchased different items. I actually have a similar setup in my Raptor right now that I adapted to a different system so that I can have the same cell phone mount, because I really, really, really like this cell phone mount. It's super easy. You just go like this and it's mounted. It's super, super easy. Don't mind the screenshot. And you can see here, it's actually a really nice setup. It's just spring loaded, and it's super, super sturdy. And so I put my cell phone there. I've also got the mount for the Garmin GPS. This is the Overlander. It just disconnects, and I have it sitting up there along with, as you can see here, I have a GoPro mount. And then I've got this up here. I actually adapted this for the Midland radio, which I don't yet have installed. It's just kind of a test fit right now. I'm probably gonna install that radio later today, but it's a magnetic mic. And so all I did was I took a RAM mount that was aluminum and I cut it down to make it a little more flush. And then up here is an adapter from 67 Designs that adapts to the ball size of RAM, and it mounts. This is a AMPS, I wanna say, mount adapter from 67 Designs that allows you to mount directly to the Garmin setup, which is pretty handy. It's really cool that 67 Designs has built quite the ecosystem, and I could not be happier. Another little feature that I got from JCR Off-Road are these kick panel, if you will, center console, side mount, I don't even know what you call them, MOLLE panels. There's one on each side, and I put these in. I have yet to really use them, but the idea is you can actually stick like a firearm right here. You could stick a radio to the side of this or the other side. It's just a nice little place to put like pocket knives or something out of the way. Believe it or not, it's not in the way of your legs, and so it's a handy little setup. One last thing I did was I took the Carolina Metal Masters ball mount, and then I took a 67 Designs arm, and I adapted one of their balls to this really cheap Amazon special mount. What it did was it allowed me to mount my Valentine 1 radar detector up out of the way. This thing is actually run and actually wired down here to the factory aux switches underneath, and I have it wired to switch number 3. And what that allows me to do is to only have the radar detector on when the engine is on. Otherwise I can turn it off, and I can hit the switch panel down here and I can turn it off when I'm in city traffic and it's just going off like crazy. So one of the last things that I did was I also got these bolt replacements that are the Carolina Metal Masters ball mounts for the 67 Designs ecosystem. I have one on each side, and a word of the wise is if you don't plan on using this one, I would not mount it, because it's very easy to hit your knee on this particular one getting in and out of the Jeep. Take it from me, I've done it. But you'll notice I have cables wrapped around. It's because nothing is permanent just yet. I'm still figuring out how to orient all this stuff. I still have a Garmin Inreach Mini that I got to mount in here, and a couple other accessories. So as I get used to it and familiar with it, this will probably change. Speaking of, here's the grab handle ball mounts. And the reason I did these is so that I can hook a GoPro up here and actually get like a POV view of that direction and different angles for filming. At least that's the idea, is to have a lot of flexibility to mount like GoPros and action cameras so I can get different angles, different viewpoints, and just make for better content. So before I go too much further, let's go back to my shop and I'll show you what I have to install, which some of it I've already gone over, some of it I haven't. So I'll see you there. So here I am back in my little 12x12 shed. As you can see, I have stuff everywhere. Car battery on a charger and a bunch of other stuff. But I figured I'd go over what I have that's sitting in here in the shop that has yet to be installed on the Jeep. What else I have maybe that I've purchased just specifically for the Jeep, and really what my future plans are. I do have some mods potentially coming up soon. We'll see. Oh, I just remembered one thing that I didn't show you guys. Another thing that I did was I got a Terra Acoustics tweeter and front speakers that were for the Jeep. They're a new company, relatively new company, and they came out with just the front set of speakers that are better high fidelity. They have a little mid-range speaker and a separate tweeter. I did put those in the Jeep that made a little more high fidelity sound for the audio. And I believe that's all I've done for the inside of the Jeep. So, one of the items I talked about that I got was the Jackery 1500 system. It's this big behemoth. This is the Jackery 1500. As you can see, it's got different ports. It's got AC, DC, many different options. It's probably one of the better out there. Super heavy. Part of the reason why I went with the Jackery setup is because previously I had I still have it, it's sitting right over here on the charger, the Gold Zero Yeti 500X. I quickly found out, trying just to run the Dometic fridge over a long weekend, that it would actually drain the 500. So it wasn't quite enough. It was close, but it wasn't quite enough. And that's over like a 3-day period that it would drain it. And so I went with this Jackery setup because theoretically it'd give me 3 times, if not more, than what the Gold Zero did. So I should be able to get quite a bit more, close to a week's worth of use out of the fridge without it draining the battery completely dead. So we will see. I have yet to test that theory, so don't hold me to it. Another thing that I bought that I have yet to install are these. These are by Smittybilt, and these are side steps that go on your hinges for the front doors or rear doors, and they kick down and they have a step on them, so you can actually step on this to get up on your roof rack. I just have to install them. I don't know why I haven't, but they're still sitting here. I just got one set right now. I'll probably get another set to go on the other set of doors so that I have a full 4. So, radio. I spoke of this earlier that I do have a radio waiting to go in. I just haven't installed it yet. You saw the microphone for it. It is the Midland MXT 275. It's probably one of the cheapest GMRS radios you can get. Inexpensive, I should say, not cheap. And basically the reason why I went with it was 2 reasons. 1, I'm new to radios. It was very inexpensive. And 2, if you saw, the microphone has all the controls. This is the actual radio body, and there's absolutely no controls on it. All you have is the plug for the microphone, and you have an extra port here where you can plug a USB-C and charge like a cell phone, which I don't know why you would, but if you need an extra port, you have it. So this allows me to mount this thing kind of anywhere as long as I have a long enough cable for the microphone. So that's where I'm at, just trying to figure out where to mount this. It's either gonna go underneath the passenger seat, underneath the dashboard of the driver's side, because there's no room underneath the dashboard of the passenger side, or it's gonna mount to the side on the JCR MOLLE panel that's on the transmission hump. I haven't fully decided. I'm hoping to get this installed later today, actually. Along with it, I got the kit that came with the stubby antenna. So this is a popular setup for off-roaders and overlanders because you don't have the whip that gets in the way. One thing I did do was I purchased via what I found on the internet as a good suggestion is a diamond antenna setup. You can see that number there. And what that is, essentially, is it's cable plus this mount. And what this does is it has set screws on here and a plate. It's not in here right now, but and it's rubber coated. And what this will do is actually mount to the hood. So the hood comes down, this will actually mount in it, and then it allows you to put the antenna like this and actually have it sitting off the side of the hood. So that's my plan, is to use this. I have to run the cables and everything, but yeah, it's a pretty slick little setup. It's $100. I bought it on Amazon. I think it's worth it. Opinions vary, but I like it. Another item I recently purchased that I have here that I have yet to install, mostly because the undercarriage of my Jeep is extremely muddy right now, and I'm just waiting for it to warm up so I can actually pressure wash and clean all the mud out, are the Lux Lighting magnetic rock light setup. So this is pretty slick. You get a whole bunch of these. I got the 8 light kit, so I have plenty of lights to go underneath the Jeep. But what it has is some rare earth magnets on it, and then it's LED lights on this side, and you just stick it to the chassis, and from what I've seen and read, they hold extremely well. And so I have a whole bunch of these, so I'm going to run all these, and it's going to go up to my Switch Pros panel, and so I can just click a switch and light up the earth from underneath the Jeep. So that's waiting to go in. Another thing that I got is a set of these. These are from Rhino Rack. And these are, you see, oh, there it goes, a handy little clamp that you can put a shovel on here. So once I get my rooftop tent mounted, I have crossbars that will go across the top of that, and on there I will mount these, and I got it for a reason. I purchased this kind of on a whim, I'll admit, but I have one of these for my Raptor, and I have the factory yellow and red handle, or the yellow handle, red front. I got this limited edition black handle with the blue, but it's a Crazy Beaver shovel. If you've never seen these are pretty wicked. They got the nice teeth mark so you can actually get into dirt and stuff. And it's got the D handle on the bottom, and you can actually take this off, and you can actually, if you wanted to, put stuff inside of it or replace it. But these are pretty handy to have. And so this will mount up on top of my roof, and I'll always have a shovel with me. At least that's the theory. What else have I done? Let's see here. Like I said earlier in the video, I do have a Garmin Inreach Mini. I have yet to activate it because I haven't had a need for it just yet. So it comes with a little clip that goes in the back of it, much like this. And then I bought the RAM mount adapter to it so that you can get a ball mount. And then what you do is you get the RAM mount to 67 Designs, they call it a DAM, D-A-M adapter, and it's just a larger ball mount that goes on one of their arms, and you can actually mount this inside the cab. I had it mounted until I put the microphone inside of there. I only had one of the adapters. I'm just gonna have to order another one, but I'm probably gonna stick this off of the grab handle Carolina Metal Masters ball mount that's on the driver's side over against the window, because you really don't have to access this very much. It's just nice to have it there, and then you just go like this and you can pull it off, and you can stick it via carabiner on something, and you can take it when you go hiking. It's very cool to have, so I'm looking forward to that. Plus this actually interfaces with my Garmin Overlander GPS, so that's another bonus. That GPS, by the way, normally they're $6.99. I actually found it on sale for $4.99. That's the reason why I purchased it. So keep your eye out. They do sales once in a while, so it's probably handy to have if you're ever looking for those, to try and find good sales. That's my little 2 cents on there. But yeah, so there's that. Another thing I recently purchased that literally just came in the mail a couple days ago, I haven't even had a chance to use it yet, is the GoPro wireless remote. I have 2 GoPro 8s, I have a GoPro 4, and I have original GoPro, so I have 4 total. I don't think this will work with the 4. I've heard that they can, but I haven't tried it. But I know it works with the 8s, and the 8s are probably what I'll use anyways. And so the idea is I can have a couple different views inside the cab, and then one button I can click to turn them on to get different angles, instead of reaching over and trying to turn it on and make sure that one's on and that one's on, and one button does it all. At least that's the theory. We'll see if it actually works in reality. So stay tuned for an update on that someday. Earlier in the video, I did show you the little hockey puck LED lights that I put kind of temporarily, kind of not, on the rear hatch. Those were not my first idea. The first idea I had to do was to use some aluminum C-channel, which I have rolling around here somewhere. I don't know where I put it right now. And use some LED strip lights that you can actually cut and wire in yourself, and then stick something like this I was gonna put this actually over kind of by my Dometic fridge, and then I could actually turn the lights on and off with this light. I could actually dim them and turn them completely off. The only problem was when I ordered everything, the lights themselves got lost in shipping. I ended up having to get a refund. Long story short, I never got them. I was kind of leery on trying to reorder them because they were the specific lights that I wanted. And so what I ended up doing was postponing that project for now, and I went with these puck lights because I just happened to run into them at Lowe's. That's the only reason why I did it. They're battery powered, they're held on with Velcro so I can easily remove them and replace the batteries. They're super bright, they work. The only downfall, they're battery operated, and batteries, as you know, don't last for long. So we'll see how well they work in real life. So I don't have a whole lot more that's kind of pending to go in at this moment. Like I said earlier in the video, I do have a whole bunch of lights that I've ordered. They're from Baja Designs. I do like Baja Designs. I've used them in the past. That's the only reason why I stuck with them. It's nothing against KC or Rigid or any of the other ones. I just prefer the quality of Baja Designs. They're just the ones I'm familiar with. But the downfall is they're so popular, and because of the chip shortage and all that stuff, there's a long backlog to get them. There's a long wait. And so it was a 8 to 10 week lead time to get them. I ordered them a little over a month ago. Actually, I ordered them 2 months ago now. Wow, I guess it has been 2 months. And so hopefully that's, you know, roughly 8 weeks. So theoretically, I should be getting those hopefully soon. The one thing I have to figure out really and truly is how I want to get the wiring from the roof rack into the cab. I'm probably gonna have to drill a hole, and I'm not looking forward to doing that. As obviously, anytime you drill into your vehicle, it's nerve-wracking. But the biggest thing with that, because it's gonna have to do it on the roof, is waterproofing, so I don't get a water leak. It's a fiberglass top, so it's really easy to drill, but I ordered a bung plug assortment, so I'm hoping that might do the trick. We'll see. I'll figure that out once I get there, but first I have to get the lights and then figure out how to run them. Otherwise, I was gonna kind of go over some of the gear that I purchased to go inside the Jeep, i.e. like my toolkit from Step 22 and a bunch of other things. I think I'll save that for a future video once I get this thing rigged up and actually get it all loaded with all my gear and get out there in the wilderness. I'll do kind of an update of everything that I have that I'm actually carrying. Not what I've bolted to the vehicle, but what I'm actually bringing with me. All my camp gear, all the different bags I use. I have a few. You know, I did purchase a set of Maxtrax black for this because it's a black vehicle. Why not go black? I also got the Maxtrax mounting pins, so I can use these to actually mount the Maxtrax to the roof rack once I get it all set up. And then I got some cheap Master locks that actually fit. It's hard to find locks that'll actually fit these little holes, but Master does make a set. So I've got that going on. Like I said, I got crossbars that I bought for my Free Spirit Recreation Odyssey 49-inch rooftop tent. So that'll go on top of there. I may make like a hook setup so that when I take the solar panels for the Jackery, I can maybe temporarily hook them up on top of the tent once it's deployed. But I don't want to put too much weight up on top of there, so that's why the biggest thing that'll go on there is the Maxtrax, which are sitting right there, that's why I'm pointing at them, and the shovel. That's probably about it. Otherwise, I think what I'll do is I'll wait till the next video or a future video to kind of go over more what I'm carrying with me. Future mods. That's a good segue into future mods. So what's my future mods looking like? Well, I've come to realize that the Jeep on 37s with the lift kit is a little high off the ground. It's difficult for some people. I have longer legs, but I actually have friends that have shorter legs, and they've expressed how much of a pain in the butt it is to get inside and, you know, in and out of the vehicle. And I've noticed that, you know, if it's icy out or if it's muddy or if it's slick outside, it is kind of a pain to get in and out of the vehicle. So I'm really considering getting some power rock slider steps for it. Either, you know, what is it, Amp Research or Rock Slide Technology. There's a few others that make them. I haven't fully decided which brand to go with. They're all comparable in price. It's really just looking at the features and the design and how slick it really fits and how the steps look and all that stuff. I think is what it really boils down to. So I'm probably going to do that relatively soon. Another thing I want to get eventually is probably a Batwing awning, so a 270-degree awning to go around. I'm really looking at the Rhino Rack one. I don't know if it's the best built, but it has the best coverage area, and it's rebuildable. Unlike some of the other ones I've looked at, you can actually completely rebuild it if it does break, so that's kind of handy. Weight-wise, they're all right around 45 to 50 pounds, so that's kind of arbitrary. What else am I looking at? I'm probably, so with the setup I have right now, with the ice box in there and the goose gear plate system, I can actually lie on the plate system on the passenger side. I can fit inside there. I'm 6'1", and I can actually comfortably, you know, within reason, fit inside there and sleep inside the cab of the vehicle if I need to. It's a full flat thing. If you push the passenger seat forward, you can actually fit a 6'1" person in there somewhat comfortably. I do have a Deep Sleep for Jeeps self-inflating mattress that I can fit in there, and it will fit perfectly, and it's actually really comfortable. So for now, I want to keep that setup, at least initially, but in the future, I'm going to get rid of that setup, and I'm probably going to put in a 2-drawer unit from Goose Gear to go right next to the fridge. That way I have better storage than, you know, for like cook gear. It's mostly going to be like cookware and maybe a portable, one of my, like my jet boil, because the jet boil is too big to fit inside the small drawer unit, so I can actually put the jet boil in there and a couple other pieces of equipment that will probably just stay in there, and maybe some extra tools or whatever. At least that's the idea. And if I do that, then that means I will no longer be able to sleep inside the cab unless I, you know, kick the driver's seat back or something like that and just recline. And along with that, like I said in the video, I'm probably going to get the 40% seat delete kit so that the entire back seat is gone. Because it's a pointless seat, let's be honest. It's small, it's cramped. I'm 6'1", so I have the driver's seat back pretty close to as far as it'll go, which doesn't leave much leg room for a passenger. You know, if I need to right now, I can fit somebody there. I can squeeze forward and kind of do it, but I'm just thinking that it's more in the way than it is of any benefit, so I'm probably going to rip that seat out and put the 40% kit in there and just complete the whole ecosystem, essentially. What else? That's about it. I don't really foresee too much more other than getting little odd and end things. I think if I do those main items, I'll be pretty well set. The other thing would be in the future, if I find that the Jackery doesn't really work very well, I may end up putting in a Red Arc Vision, you know, Manager 30 system and a total power distribution system inside of it with spare batteries. But it's going to be pretty extreme, so I don't see that happening anytime soon. The other things I want to do is, if I do the 2-drawer unit, what I'll probably do is on the back side of it, I do have a Built Right Industries Molly panel that will mount to the back of there, and I'm probably going to mount a charging system for like camera batteries and drone batteries and any other electronics that I have, action cameras, that kind of stuff, and have like a nice little setup, and maybe even make a full distribution system that's temporary that can actually plug into the Jackery, and so that I can charge everything and kind of have it there at all times. I really don't know. I'm spitballing all these different ideas. I also have another project I'm working on that I'm not going to reveal just yet, but that will make the Jeep very versatile for when I'm on the road, so that I can edit photos and videos, at least download. I don't know that I'll do a whole lot of work on my MacBook Pro, but I want a workstation to do it. And so I'm working on a modular system that I can somewhat quickly set up and take down that will make it to where I could actually, if I wanted to, work out of the vehicle. i.e., in the future, if I can get a position where I work that's completely remote, I could theoretically do it out of the Jeep. I'm not saying that's going to happen. It's kind of a dream right now. I don't even know if it's physically possible, but that's one thing that would be really cool to do, but we'll see. So anyways, yeah, I figure what I'll do in a future video, it may very well be the next, it may not, I don't know yet. Just be patient. I'm all over the place right now, so who knows when my next video will be and what it will be about. But a near future video will be actually going over the full cost of my build. I'm not going to include all the stuff, like I said, that I haven't put in there that's just, it can be in any vehicle. I'm only going to include the stuff that's specific for the Jeep and that's on it and what I'm actually using. Not all the spares, because I have tons of spares sitting back here. Just what's on it. I want to do a full build from the cost of the factory 392 with all of its options, to the AEV upfitment with all of its options, to all the accessories I've added, the whole 9 yards. I'm gonna build, I haven't done it. There's a reason why I haven't done the videos, because I haven't sat down and actually made the spreadsheet yet. But I need to make a spreadsheet and break down every single thing that I did and do a full tally. Spoiler alert, it's very expensive. It's a super expensive setup that I have. So, but everything is right now. So it looks like a lot of money up front, but if you go buy a new vehicle and you do anything similar, you're probably in the ballpark anyway. So it's just the world we live in. Everything's expensive. But I would like to do that full disclosure for all you viewers out there, so that you know what it really costs to get into something like this. Otherwise, here soon, I actually put in for vacation for the whole summer. So I have at least 3, if not 4 weeks coming up, different times. I'm not going to any of the meets that I am aware of, at least at this juncture. I'm not going to go to any like the Easter Jeep Safari that's actually going on this weekend right now. Kind of wish I would have, but too many other things going on. I couldn't make it. But I'm going to get out there and actually use this thing, and I'm going to film it, and I'm going to share it with you. And that's the whole idea of this whole build, is to actually go out and have adventures and share it with you. And so stay tuned for that. There's stuff coming up soon, and I'm really excited. The weather's turning nice. The sun's out, birds are coming back, wildlife's out, stuff's starting to turn green instead of white, and yeah, I'm looking forward to what the future holds. So stay tuned, and as always, I thank everyone for watching the videos, and I hope you like it. If you do, click like, comment down below, give me your thoughts. I'm not on YouTube all the time, so bear with me. I will respond to everybody in due time. And if you like it, subscribe, please, by all means, because there's a lot more content coming up. It's just not going to be right away. So subscribe, have me in the background, and as new videos pop up, you'll see it. So turn the notification bell on. Heck, you'll even be the first to know. So thank you so much for watching the videos, and I look forward to what the future holds. Peace.